Hello and welcome to race number 18. We're just about ready to start qualifying. We're at Chicagoland tonight. I'm going to bring up the ticker so we can kind of see who is out there on track. Got to switch the ink. Doesn't. Bam. Alright, there we go. Right now we're looking at Dustin Carroll in the 93. I'm going to go off the playoff drivers real quick. So Dean Detmer currently leading after Iowa 2 weeks ago. Zachary Thorne in second, Will Cloud in third, Brian Lazo fourth, and Paul Irvin in fifth. And that is what is currently rounds out the top five, or who would make it the last round of Kansas. But we're at Chicagoland, Darlington next week, and then Kansas. On the cutoff, people on the outside looking in: Malachi Drake 1 point out, Michael J. Steele 5 points out, Nicholas Fuller 7 points out, Dustin Carroll is 14 points out. And Joseph Darnell 16 points out. So Carroll and Darnell really need good races if they want to advance. Not impossible. It's difficult. Currently is first at the moment. We have 3 people who have crossed line. As I say that, it's shifting around. Malachi Drake currently on pole. Just took it away from Matthew Cochran. And actually Matt's racing. That's interesting. Wonder who's doing race control then. But he's in third. Dean took over the top spot. But I give anytime Malachi Drake, who was in it last I saw. Looks like best Malachi can do is fourth. Dean, oh my, Dean. Dean was in first. Now he's in fifth. Guy who is in first place at the moment is Brian Laronzo in 77. Dean, oh my gosh, could not advance his position. Stuck in fifth. He's got some work to do tonight, but he does have quite a buffer. All he has to do is just make that top 5, and that's 4 points. That's pretty much what matters going to the next round. Brady Floyd is on track. Do camera 3. I'm not doing camera 3 during the race though. Apparently Brady 3 knocking some people back. I also see Fuller out on track 2. Oh, he tapped the wall. He's trying not to cross the line. There you go, so I can restart, and that lap is not going to count. I'm hoping we see Fuller pop back in, but I'll take a look at see what's going on with Brady at the moment. Oh, he's just sitting on pit road. Paul Irvin somehow took over the top spot. I saw him briefly before he popped out. Paul needs a really good run in order to stay above the cutoff line, and he is being chased very closely behind by Malachi Drake. 6. Some of these people who I would expect to have good results qualified pretty poorly. And Malachi Drake really qualifies in the top 3. He's in 6th. Dean is in 7th. Zachary Thorne's in 5th. Other people. Will Cloud is in 11th. Some people you're not expecting. Don't know if it's because of the style of the track or maybe we'll have a different race or who. But I do believe our usual people will find their way up front like they tend to do. All right, qualifying is up. We're gonna be gridding and going through the order very shortly. All right, Paul, what's wrong with these? Oh, I do need to add the ticker. That's oh, that's gonna bother me. I'm gonna take a look at. Oh, I see what you're talking about. The racing actually shifted. That is annoying. Oh, I see what you're talking about. The racing actually shifted. All right, you can probably hear my voice duplicated in there. That was mess with it. Oh, just iRacing now.
Green, green, green.
Alright, I gotta go back racing, which is unfortunate. I'm sorry. Alright, we are going green right now. I'm at the first caution. We're gonna take a break. Paul Urban leading in front with the number 4 right behind him. Lot check behind as Paul is getting really loose. You can see big mess, the 81 down there. They're all, I think, 5 wide I can see. Still very hectic right around where Paul is at. And a lot of people are able to escape by. I can see Malachi Drake there, Will Cloud. Some people are trapped behind him. Brian Lorenzo is out front right now, being chased down by Matt Cochran. And behind him is Malachi Drake in the 3rd place position. And you can see Will Cloud also tagging on to this lead, back 2 and 4th. Hey, now Paul, what you said is me bugging me the entire stinking time. Alright, yeah, because it looks like Iverson shifted down and to the left. Actually, I think after I can mess with it, if I turn off the window capture, which will be fantastic, because it'll require a lot of messing around. Right now, Malachi, though, in the third place, has caught up right now to the top side of Cochran. Trying to use that high side, get momentum. Matt Cochran using the low side. Can't get the run down the back stretch like Malachi can. Malachi solid in the second place right now, but Cochran's going to dive it deep in 3 and 4. See if he can make it stick. Right now, they're side by side. Exactly what Brian wants. That's just going to slow him down. And because of that battle, Bull Cloud able to take advantage of that, able to follow Malachi Drake through and get his Camry into the third place position. And right now, these guys have it settled out behind Cochran. Oh, looks like a battle's going on for fifth. Zachary, yep, Zachary Thor and Dean Demers side by side. 2x2 action behind Paul Urban, trying to get back into the rhythm of things. Make his Camaro go to the front. He's got to get up there. And he's battling Malachi Drake now, who actually took over the top position for the lead. He's battling side by side with Brian. We got so many great battles going on. Only on lap 9 out of 100, though. And actually, that went by pretty quickly. Or could be because I was more focused on getting the screen looking right, which after this I'm gonna spend some time. Melka, though, not able to take over the top spot right now. He's under pressure by Will Cloud. Will to the inside of him. Will's gonna send it into the turn. Then he's gonna try and slide up in front of Malachi Drake. He will do so. Malachi doesn't fight back. He does have the momentum down the backstretch, but just chooses to stay behind the 48. Nothing too aggressive. Very early on, only a tenth of the race down. And now I'm gonna go back to that battle. See how it got sorted out. I think Dean managed to escape it. Yep, he got by Thornton. And also Paul Irvin got by Thornton as well. And these guys mostly have it all settled out in single file. And early on, we saw the 81 of Forrest Smith. I don't know if he had some contact or got loose, but he got sent in the grass. Spun it, saved it, but he is 7 seconds off of Michael Steele, who's in 14. Steele, who's on the outside looking in. Okay, and I do have confirmation about race control for those that actually care. So Matt and Mick are going to be doing race control. Mick is in there at the moment, and then Matt is going to jump out and kind of finish the session. And he also told me that YouTube doesn't have it full screen, which I really do appreciate that you guys are telling me how crappy the quality is. To put a spin or good spin on it, I guess. Anyways, I did want to see where Michael Steele was, and you've been seeing Michael Steele's car for the past couple laps. So I think it is time to look at the cars in front of him. I see a little battle going on there. In front of Steele, I see the 22. That in the it's starting now. The Ryan Blaney scheme. These guys are duking it out. Although they're in the back, they still have some good battles back there. But Steele does need a good run in order to have a chance to make the top 5. Would need 6 points, so he would have to be running up front towards the end of this race. He might gamble to get those positions, but he's got a shot if he can play the strategy game right. Darnell and Carroll, though, fortunately, I think it might be too much to pull it off from the current spot. But if they prove me wrong, I will gladly eat my words. Brian's still up front. Dean somehow got to second. How the heck did you do that? They were so far behind. But Zachary Thornton is up in the mix as well. Although he's still in 5th, he has caught up to the back of this group. So my guess is that Dean just abused his tires in order to get up here. As Brian is known for his tire saving abilities, but now that Dean is up here, probably is going to want to take it easy, or Elka Drake is going to want to pounce because he's not on top of the back bumper. But if Dean were to make a mistake, he would lose that 2nd place position. Paul Irving, gonna take a look at him. He's sort of caught up to the group. He is 6/10 away from Thornton. Thornton's on top of Will, and Will is 7/10 of a second between Malachi Drake. So Paul is doing what he has to do. Unfortunately, Malachi Drake right now 3 spots ahead of him, but all he has to do is try and keep close to Will, or close to Malachi. And then next week at Darlington, gotta be able to pull the trigger. He's had some great finishes in the Gen 6 race that we've had at Darlington. Actually, I believe he did win it. So if that transpires over to this, he would be in good shape. It's a very unique track. And it's a pain in the butt to drive because it takes a lot of skill to navigate that track. Because turns 1 and 2 operate completely differently than 3 and 4. We've heard that before. And 1 and 2, it's interesting. You have to stay in the gas a lot longer than you think you have to. Because this battle right now between Thornton and Will, Paul has able to caught up to him. So I wonder if Will's tires are fading and Thornton just isn't able to get by quite yet. Thornton right now to the inside of Will Cloud. We'll see how Will can battle back. Right now he's trying to use that outside And off of the turn, Thorne's not able to clear him, so he's gonna use that top side to be able to draw him back in. And this is just going to bring Paul Urban even closer to this group. And if Paul can get by these guys, his next victim would be Malachi Drake. Someone in front got in the wall. It's interesting. It might have been Dean, because typically when people get into the wall, they would crank it to the left, which we saw him do. And his times dropped significantly off of Brian. But that also could be the tire situation too. Right now, Thorne does have to be careful. If he makes a move on Will, he could end up losing a spot to Paul Urban. And he's going to try to the inside. Paul right now all over this group. We'll see what Paul can do if he just tries to stay on the top side, because Will's doing a good job defending up there, or if he can get the momentum and make it 3 wide on them. Right now, Will is getting the throttle down more than Thornton. As I was going to say, Thornton can't get the throttle down on the bottom side as compared to Paul Urban. So Paul able to get the throttle down earlier, able to carry that momentum through the turn. Right now is putting Thornton under pressure side by side for the 5th place position. And Thornton would be going in defense mode, but top side is where it's at. We'll see. I think Thornton wants to try and get to the top side of Will, make the pass. Doesn't want to go to the bottom because that just made him lose ground. And then he's going to have to regain that back up. And because of this battle, right now we can see Drew Trader back into the mix. His red and black 89 Camaro. Thorne's going to dive it in. He's going to slide up in front of Will. Will, no contact to put him in the wall, but that 48 probably got a little tight because of that. Will did a number to that right side of the car. Didn't lose a whole lot of ground, and actually somehow Paul lost a spot to Drew Trader. Don't know if he checked up because Will got into the wall. But where that situation may have helped Paul, it's going to give him a little more work to do. Will's going to try and repay the favor to Thornton. He's going to go to the inside, but Thornton able to get the momentum out of the turn. He's going to carry that momentum and actually pull a couple of car lengths away from Will. Will's going to have to regroup. Wouldn't shock me if, yep, both of them are on the top side in 1 and 2. I think Will just got into the wall again. Bringing Drew Trader into the mix. Drew's going to send it on the inside of Will. Going to dive in really high, but not able to make the pass as Will's right now on his quarter panel. And I think Drew has saved his tires, so he's able to stay up there with these people. And Brady Floyd now into the mix as well. Oh, we got 3 wide right now for 5th. Brady Floyd up top. Drew Trader on the bottom. He's going to send it once again. Going to exit side by side with Will. Can't manage to clear him. Paul Urban, due to the draft, is back into the mix of this thing. We saw him a little bit ago. being in the middle of the sandwich. And Drew Trader's making some very interesting moves. Started down low, cut up high in the turn, trying to get around Will, but he's actually able to use the top side. Oh! Will's trying to come to the pits. He's too fast. Oh, Will's going to get a
Caution, yellow
penalty.
flag.
But yellow is out. Why is yellow out? People are going to pit. We're going to see what happened. And then we could go back shortly and see if I can do any readjustments on my screen. Anyone here wrecked? Or could have just been a spin? No, it was probably just a harmless little spin. But because of that penalty, Will's going to be starting in the back. But at least he's not going to be a lap down, so it could have been much worse for him. And actually, because of when the caution did come out, hopefully pits were still open for Thorne and Will. Oh, Drew Trader couldn't get it slowed down into the back of Brian, and Brian into the back of Dean. And Brian out first, Dean second. See Nicholas Fuller able to get in there. Then Drew Trader, and then everybody cycles through. Now time to see what happened. Oh, Brady wrecked. And actually, oh, then this was a stack up because of what happened with Will on pit road overshooting it. So I'm going to take a look at the 51 on this. And Brady got the blunt end of it. So he's slowing way down. 51 up the track. Up into Brady, and then those two wreck. That was a great save from the 51. And then Brady up into the wall again, and then just parks it. Got out, even though parks it, I know it sounded bad, but it was good for him to be in a predictable place for people to avoid him.
Green flag,
All
green
right,
flag.
and we are going green flag racing. Hopefully that screen looks good now. If not, don't fret. Brian Lorenzo off to a great start, though. He's going to go to the high side to cover, and then he's going to go down to the inside in 1 and 2. Dean to the outside of him. And I will get your ticker back momentarily. I just took it off. I just took it off. So I could be able to adjust the screen. Actually, is my ticker off center too? The ticker is now center as well. Being centered is a very good thing in life. Anyways, enough of the life lessons. Dean right now up in first. True Trader managed to scoot his way into second. And Brian actually has fallen back to third. Drew right now, he's not really saving at all. You could see him diving it into 1 and 2. Contact. I don't think Dean knew he was there. Dean did come down. Coming down once again, but Brian is trying to fill that upper gap. That almost was really bad if Brian was able to get his car up there. He's being very aggressive right now with Drew. True Trader is actually leading this event. I don't think Drew is... Yeah, Drew's not in the playoffs, so he's just out there for bragging rights. Got everybody out there to try and show what stuff he got. Right now, Brian back in his second. And I don't know if Fuller back there is going to make a move, but so far he has made up a lot of ground on the start as well. Right now, trying to clear himself from the 51. And he has. Fuller trying to make that top side work with Dean on the inside. Brian Lorenzo in that middle lane, so it's going to get a little tight for him. See, a lot of those people, as they're drifting up the track, they're getting really close to that wall. But we do have him single filed out right now. I do see Dustin Carroll. He's in 7th. That's a really great job for him. Gonna give him some TV time because of that. The only reason why he stood out is because he was the only one in the top side making moves. Although making the top 5 is a huge stretch, you know, got to have those good performances. So, Elite on the hood wants to come back next year and sponsor that 93 machine. Obviously in a different series because next gen isn't going to exist, but we will have late models and Xfinity next year. My main question is how long can Drew Trader stay up front? Because he's not saving his stuff at all. And he's also running very interesting lines compared to the rest of the field. The only one up high and everybody else is down low. Arcing the turn, not a bad thing per se. Just unique is all. And Fuller has made his way up to third. Yeah, no, on your screen it did just shift a little bit, and that's because I'm not satisfied. In my Streamlabs, it's perfectly centered my screen, but when you go to the YouTube version, it's not. But the first battle that I do see on track right now is between Fuller and Dean, and that ended very quickly. I don't know if Fuller's trying to save him stuff, or hopefully he didn't burn it already. That'd be very depressing if he did burn it. He would have about 5 seconds of fame. But I do think Drew Trader is starting to burn his stuff also, because he's under pressure right now from Brian. Less than 2/10 behind him. We are just over this thing. 3 people counting, and only 10:07, so they're making great time. Going down very quickly. The only caution we've had, I'm going to blame Will for it. Will missed his pit stall and, well, missed the pit entry. Still try to go down pit road at a checkup big time. Definitely was on accident, because you don't try to mess yourself over in the competition, but ended up getting into 51, who got into Brady, and Brady managed to stay off of the wall and, well, stay off of sliding back into the wall, and it was only really a 2-car accident. Paul Irvin wasn't affected too much, and Brady, I think, was able to repair his stuff. He's in 14th right now. Last car in the race, but he's on the lead lap. You can see that car looks really new, but it is still wrinkled on the right side. Not using a fast repair, but they did repair the car very quickly. We are 3 wide for the lead. Drew Trader on the top side to defend. Dean in the middle of the sandwich, and Brian down low. This will get very dicey, but they're keeping it clean so far with even gaps in between them. And Dean is biasing his car more towards the bottom. And they do make contact! I knew that would happen. I think Dean came up a little bit
The yellow
into
flag is
Drew.
out.
Oh, that was close. No, Matt Cochran just plowed into the 41. Oh no, what just happened? He was good. And then I want to see what happened with Matt's perspective. I want. Oh, see, Matt is behind Will. Look at the cockpit view. His view has got to have been blocked. because everybody else is able to avoid, and he's right behind Will. They can see the 41 down low because he made contact. He's going to slide up the track. He's holding the brakes right now. Oh, he just slid up the track. He probably didn't realize he would slide up that high, and he committed to the high side. And so did Dean. So Dean's going to be putting himself in a little of a pit time for Darlington. Dean's probably gonna finish 14th if I were to guess. Alright, I know this isn't a very professional camera, but I don't care. I can do what I want. I want to see what happened between these guys. They're trying to keep it off of each other, and they're 3 wide. I do believe it's a racing incident. So, oh, I think the 89 came down a little bit off of the wall, but they were so close, it's very tough. And Dean, who was just stuck in the middle, it's one of the positions you do not want to be in. And then just got absolutely plowed by Matt Cochran. Not like Matt tried to do it either, so hopefully it doesn't sound that way. But with that left front the way it is, I'm gonna go live time, and I believe he's just sitting in the pits. And he is. But he's taking tires.
Green flag, green flag.
Alright, green flag is back out. It is perfectly centered my screen. So when it all calibrates, I will take a look and see how it does look. But 77 back out front. We have the number 35 right behind him. And I can see the 48 just got into the wall. He was trying to go three wide with the people in front of him. Unfortunate for Will to get into the wall again. I think he's a magnet. He's trying to make up some ground too. The 89 in front of him is sideways. So his momentum is going to be disrupted, and Will's going to take advantage to try and get into the 6th place position. And he does. We do have a battle going on for second right now. Zachary Thorne to the high side. Malachi Drake trying to challenge by taking the bottom. Malachi going to send it down the inside. I believe he's going to clear the 35. And he will. Actually, Paul Irvin's going to go down there too. And he's going to exit side by side with Thornton. These two guys right now, Paul and Malachi Drake, are battling for that last spot. And actually, with the unfortunateness of Dean, I don't know if Dean's going to be brought into the picture being a three-way battle for that final transfer spot. It wouldn't shock me. But Paul recently has gotten very, very quick. A lot different than we've seen in the beginning of the season. He's grown quite a bit as a driver. We've seen him in the Gen 6 running up front and competing for more wins. And in this series too, competing consistently up front too. Not just what we've seen before with the being up front because he actually stayed out. Alright, and in the chat, Dean did comment, says championship hopes are gone for him. Mad at himself. We do have one race left, so he does have a chance. Although, you'll see how much he'll drop the standings after the fact. For the lead right now, Malachi Drake has got up to the back bumper of Brian Lorenzo. Brian's going down low to defend, and we can see back in the screen Drew Trader, the guy who's been different all day. He's the only one on the top side, everybody else is down low. And Drew's actually going to send it to the inside right now, the 51. And he is able to keep it down there because Drew's on, or Paul, battling back on the outside, and these guys are battling for fourth. And Drew up into the wall! Into the 51. The 51 able to save it. He's going to lose a lot of momentum, and he's going to be falling backwards. I can guarantee you there's some words exchanged because Paul badly needed to be up where Drew is and battle Malachi Drake. And Malachi, who's had a phenomenal day, currently up in his second. But once again, with it may be Dean versus Drew after this race for that final spot. Who knows? Did I say Dean versus Drew? I meant Dean versus Paul. Paul is trying to battle back right now to the inside of Carroll. But Carroll's not making it easy, as he shouldn't, but Carroll does give a love tap to the wall. And I believe Paul is going to, use that to his advantage and clear the 93 on his trip back up to the front. If he gets up to Drew, I wonder what's going to happen. But Brian has made quite a significant gap over second place, which is now Zachary Thornton. See that 7/10 of a second, and behind Thornton to Malachi is another 5/10. And about same gap between them and Drew. With 30 laps to go here at Chicagoland. Chicagoland's been a very, very good race so far for everybody except Dean. But although it was interesting having 3 freeway for the lead. Just unfortunately with the playoffs, sometimes you gotta choose if that risk is worth it or not. But like in the final round in Kansas, 3 wide for the lead with your competitor on the inside of you is absolutely worth it. But to make it to the next round may not be worth the risk. And although Dean is very mad at himself, he had a tremendous gap over second place. So going into this, Dean had 63 points and Malachi Drake had 50, which is a 13-point difference. And that's about one race. So he used his entire buffer from the first round, but if he can have a decent round at Darlington, doesn't need to be perfect, I still think he'll make your top 5. But as I'm gabbing on about Dean, because it's just something to talk about, Thornton has closed the gap to Brian. Cut it about in half with 25 laps to go. So Thornton very well may be able to, or I believe Thornton is going to catch Brian. But making a pass for the lead is going to be completely different, as we've seen before. People on the high side being able to defend very well. Most notably, my thought goes to Thornton taking a while to get around Will. And also, fun fact, Will is up to 5th. And Paul has gained one more spot, and he's up to 7th. And I heard a car scraping the wall. I don't know if it was Will. Love you, Will. But you're the only car I've been seen scraping the wall. And we come down for final pit stops. Thornton really hot. Hopefully it wasn't able to speed there. And last time we had green flag pit stops, it was really hectic. We'll see if the same thing occurs. And a lot of these people haven't gone down for green flag pit stops because the caution came out in the middle of it the first time. So people like Brian, this is his first time going down pit road today. A lot more careful, I think, out of the 77. And everybody should need to come down. I don't think anybody can really make it to the end unless some people are holding out for caution. The same thing happens like it did the first time. However, I don't think so. Just because I think the first time was a fluke. And a lot of people have already pitted. Looks like Will already pitted. Thornton already pitted. Malachi Drake. Paul Urban exiting right now. So when everything cycles through, it's jumping between Brian and Thornton. So Thornton did manage to pass Brian. I don't know if Thornton took 2 tires, that would have been a really smart call. Right now my ticker is jumping a little bit just because people are going down a lap from pitting. But it will all cycle through eventually. The battle for the lead would be right here, and Thornton is going to take it over. And Dustin Carroll has not pitted yet, so that's why you can see the speed difference between the two. Oh, Drew's just starting the backstretch. So for Thornton to naturally unlap himself, there you go. That's a good camera angle to show the distance, and you can now see them in the same frame. We have 3 people that have stayed out: Drew Trader, Dustin Carroll, and Joseph Darnell. which I do agree with a call from Dustin and Joseph, because they need the points. They gotta take the risk. If the risk doesn't pay out, then they wouldn't have lost anything. Or I said that wrong. No, I said that right. If the risk doesn't pay out, then they haven't really lost anything. The point scenario. But if it pays off, then they've gained the entire world. And Thorin right now unlapping himself from the 89. The next person to unlap himself should be Brian. And there's Brian. And Drew Trader gonna go to the pits. Oh, he's gonna get a penalty because of it though. Unsafe pit entry for the 89 because he got too hot in the pits and hit the entry cone. So it was a great race for Drew Trader. He's coming about his unique racing style, but it was paying off for him. And he actually managed to lead laps because of it. Darnell, the only person who has stayed out. And Darnell's probably going to have to come to the pits soon. Justin Carroll is... I believe he's had to have pitted. Or just looking at speed difference, actually he may not have pitted. But he's fallen back to 9th. Because of the difference. And everybody's naturally unlapped themselves. Looking at the speed of the 2, I believe he's going to come down this time by. And he is very careful entry because those tires don't have any grip on them. And the 89 just rejoined the track and he's 1 lap down. So he's going to be wanting a caution. We have less than 20 laps to go. Actually, less than 15 laps to go to the end of this. Thorin out front by 1.133 seconds. And I'm not sure what necessarily caused it. You can see the gap on your screen. They aren't incredibly far apart. And Brian is closing. So I'm wondering if Thornton took 2 tires. Which might pay off, might not. Because we are getting close to 10 lap to go range, and Thornton might be able to hold him off. I think Brian's going to catch him because the gap is going down very quickly. Because right now we are under a second and within a matter of minutes. The gap is, yeah, cuts down a tenth about every sentence I speak. This gap has to be because of tires. So if Thornton took 2 tires, or if Thornton had to have taken 2 tires, because the time that it takes your crew to do 2 tires, the crew chief would be, or crew would be able to fill it up with fuel. So it's a smart call to give you some track position. But in this case, I think Brian's going to take over the top spot because we do have 10 laps to go as of now. That is going to give Brian quite a few chances to take over the lead. And because he has such a big speed difference over Thorin, I don't think Thorin can really hold him up too much. And Will Cloud, who's in third, kind of out of the picture. He is 5 seconds behind. Those green flag pit stop took a decently sparse field and really stretched them apart, which is very normal for green flag pit stops because you have people entering at different speeds, different strategies, whether to pit early, not to. Thornton is actually choosing to defend by going to the inside. No, he's not. He wants the top side. Or he wants the middle side. You can see these two swerving there. He's trying to block to hold on for another 8 laps. Brian right now is to the inside of the 35, and the 35, although he's in the preferred lane, he can't hold on. My guess is Brian's going to dive it into this turn and clear him. Or not. Well, yes, he is going to clear him. We'll see how Thornton responds because he does have the momentum. Chooses not to quite do anything with it, and I don't really think he had enough momentum to do something with it. Through the field, Malachi Drake didn't have the pit strategy he would have desired, and Paul Urban actually managed to pull up a good strategy. And Malachi might fall back a couple more spots. Paul, you have 5 laps to go here at Chicagoland. Malachi Drake in 7th and Paul Urban in 5th with Michael Steele in between them. And just looking at it, I think the difference is Malachi probably chose not to take tires. It was such a good run for the 07, and it is kind of sad to see it just fall away there at the end, but pit strategy does make a big difference. Paul Urban is going to benefit. He still has to be on his game next week in order to make the final 5. But he is creating a little more of a gap between himself and Malachi. Was 1 car entering the race, exiting the race, it will be a 3-point gap. Brian has smooth sailing from here. Come around turn 4 to 3 laps to go at Chicagoland. With everybody so far spaced out, don't think a caution will come. I probably jinxed it, but I don't really think that's going to happen. But Brian does want to see the white flag, so everything will be official. Because if a white flag or a caution were to come out, people will probably take tires, and it would be an absolute dogfight to the end of it. So 2 laps to go. Brian has another set of corners before he's going to see the white flag. And off before he's going to see the flagman for 1 more lap here at Chicagoland for Brian Alonso to grab another victory in the season and solidify his chances at making the final 5. We're now going down the backstretch for one final time. And Zachary Thorin is 2 seconds off of Brian. So at this point, Brian could probably coast to the line, but he doesn't need to. He's got plenty of fuel on that car. Brian Lorenzo going to grab the victory here at Chicagoland. Looks like Zachary Thorne's going to be in second, Will Cloud in third. Some very solid results for these people trying to make it into the final five. I think these three are pretty much solidified. Fuller with a great run. Michael Steele stealing the 5th place over Paul Urban. That's pretty big for the championship picture. Paul Urban managed to finish in 6th and Malachi Drake in 7th. So it would be a 2-point gap between Malachi and Paul Urban sometime for Darlington next week. So pretty much Paul's main goal is he just has to stay in front of that 07 in order to make the final round, and Malachi's goal, be ahead of Paul in one more car. All right, we'll be having interviews very shortly. So bring that ticker back up once again so you can see the final positions of everybody else. Brian Lonzo first, Zachary Thornton in second, and Will Cloud in third, and we'll be interviewing them when they pop up. Waiting room, and they're already there. We're going to start off with Will. Hey, Will, Matt and Booth, you copy?
I got a copy.
All right, so third place for you. Billy probably would have wanted more, but it was very, very solid for you. Looking for points to get into the next round. How was it though, from your perspective? Because it was really racy early on, and then after that final green flag pit stop, it was like a Sunday drive for a lot of people.
Yeah, so usually I want more than third, but I really did not have the most pace this race. Like I was like a fifth, sixth, seventh place car. So I am more than happy to be coming out of here in third. But overall, the race, I mean, like I said, I was pretty much a mid-pack car the whole race. Walled myself a bunch of times, was able to avoid the wreck where Dean came all the way up the track barely, which was good, and kind of just cruised. And I know I was sitting in, I want to say fifth or sixth before the final pit stop happened, and whenever I pit worked, I guess, 'cause I got third and I was able to hold on to it. So, not complaining at all.
All right, so yeah, it looked like some people took tires, some people didn't. I think the people that didn't take tires or took 2 tires um, really seemed to suffer kind of there at the end. So, what strategy did you pick to come up with third?
Yeah. Yeah, I just took 4 tires and filled it up. I know, Malachi took 2, and I know that didn't work for him, and I think I jumped Fuller and Paul by just short pitting them, but 4 tires was the call, and then I was just able to hold on.
Yeah, so I think Thornton also might have taken 2 tires, and he wasn't. He couldn't
No,
fight Brian.
he took 4.
He took four.
Brian was just on a whole Brian was on a whole 'nother level of speed. That's
Oh
all I'm
my
gonna say.
gosh.
Brian was not accepting second. He was on a mission and he drove like 4 seconds and just passed them. I don't even know how he did that. That was insane.
He just blew by the 35 like like he was on old tires.
Yeah, no, Zach took 4. Brian just had that much pace.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's why Brian's got. I lost track of how many wins Brian has.
Too many.
A lot. I know. You should yell at him after this to share.
Oh, yep. I still haven't gotten my first of the season, so I'll make sure to. Oh no, I'll beg him for one. That's what I'm gonna do.
You could beg him for the win at Kansas.
Honest, listen, a win's a win. I'll take it anywhere.
Now look,
Oh, is that
yeah,
the finale?
yes,
Oh no, yeah, I'll definitely beg for that one. That would be a great way to end the season.
yeah, that'll be interesting. But before we let you go, anyone you want to thank for your performance tonight?
I'd like to give a shout out to you, Matt, for the broadcast, and all my teammates, Brady, Brian, and Zach, for the great run. Also, a shout out to both Zach and Brian for us completing the 1, 2, 3 sweep, which is always lovely to see. Oh, and 4 o'clock media. Can't forget about that.
Yep, gotta cover all the bases, so they return to you.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Will, and have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, that was Will Cloud finishing in third. We're gonna bring up next, Zachary Thornton. Hey, Thornton, Matt and Booth, you copy? Thornton, you copy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I said yes.
Oh, didn't hear you for a sec. But Will did correct me because I was dead positive that you didn't take tires, just based on the way that Brian flew by you at the end of that. But how was it from your perspective? And I know Brian was in an entire another universe.
Yeah, as usual, Brian dominates the next gens. That's pretty common. He wins a lot. He's very good. It's kind of hard to beat him. Um, yeah, I had the gap, but Brian's just too quick, and I'm too slow because I don't like the next gen. It's too tight.
The next gens are very difficult because you and Will completely
They're
dominate
awful.
another series, along with Brady too, and you guys are
Not good
not well. I won't say not good, but not
for our
dominant like
standards.
you are in the other series.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Happy to get second though, because I had a little bit of a rough start to the race. That's just kind of all over the place. But yeah, overall a good race. Second is good. I cannot complain about it, even though I wish I was as quick as Brian. But maybe someday.
Yeah, you still are getting points towards making that final round in Kansas. Is what matters.
Yeah, I do
Just
like Kansas, but it's a mile and a half, so I'm sure Brian will probably win it and blow us out of the water.
maybe, but at least one can hope that it might be a little close.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully, but I don't think so.
All right. Well, and you want to thank for your performance tonight, and maybe they can give you a little more optimism.
What'd you say?
And you want to thank for your performance tonight, and maybe your sponsors can give you a little more optimism for the future.
Um, I got to thank Mr. Brady Floyd, even though he didn't really do anything. He just kind of sat around and raced by himself. He's also fairly drunk, as far as I know, but no comment. Um, thank Will Cloud. Will Cloud, good teammate as always. Even if I couldn't get by him at some point, and it was really bugging me, so I was behind him for like 10 laps. Then I eventually just like kind of sent it on him and dirty aired him into the wall. But um, he
That was
expects it.
pretty interesting.
And it was just dirty air. It happens, and I was just, kind of sick of being behind them. It was kind of repetitive. I gotta thank Brian, even though I don't like him because he's too quick. Um, maybe I'll shut off his internet for next week. Never mind. Didn't hear nothing. Um, Dean wrecked out of this race. I was really surprised that happened. Did you? How did that wreck look, Matt?
They were three wide for the lead with Brian on the inside, Dean in the middle, and Drew Trader on the top. I think because they were so close. I think Drew slightly came down a little bit. Um, and it wasn't a lot of movement, but it was just a little bit enough to upset Dean's car, who was in the middle, and they were 3 wide for at least a lap, and then
Yeah.
Dean just got sent. But it seemed to be like a
Well,
racing incident.
that stinks for them, I guess.
Yep, you
Good for my
benefit.
points though. Yeah. I have to thank Mr. Matt Cochran, and I think Mick was also race controlling ish.
Yeah, Mick was helping to
So
race control.
thank you to them for doing a splendid job. I have to thank you, Matt, for being such an amazing broadcaster every week. You're so great.
I like the sarcasm.
No sarcasm at all. You're wonderful, Matt.
Oh no.
You're great at your job. I hope they pay you well.
Alright, thanks for the sarcasm. Now after this I'm gonna get
No
fired.
sarcasm, Matt. That's completely true. You're great. You're wonderful.
Alright, well thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright, well thank you for your
What?
time. I guess I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna like thank anybody else.
No.
Like some awkward silence going on there. But we do have next week Darlington, so good luck. It's a really
Mm,
unique track.
Darlington. I love Darlington.
Okay, now that's some
I don't like
sarcasm.
next gens. I don't want to race this anymore. But I paid money for it, so I should. But I don't want to.
We're almost done, so don't worry.
Nearly.
Alright, well thank you for your time and have a good rest of your night.
All right. Thank you for your wonderful podcasting, Matt. Keep it up.
Alright, I don't know what to take of that. Because the stupid screen off. At least have it centered, but the screen is still small. So if you want to stay, I'm gonna tinker with it because I can. If you want to stay and make fun of me, you're more than welcome to. But first, I'm going to talk to Brian. Hey, Brian, Matt in the booth, you copy?
Yeah, Matt. What's up, man? Before you ask me anything, I have a message from Adria Esports. You're very special. You're amazing. Like you're really, really special, man. Like, thank you. Just thank you for being a W human being.
Did Thornton do that?
Uh, yeah, sure.
Okay. Because, like, he's saying, you're wonderful, you're amazing, blah, blah. I'm like, is that sarcasm? Like, did the broadcast suck? And he's like, no, 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 no. So, he's got me a little worried. I'll just put it that way.
Bruh.
Alright, but you had one heck of a race. You were so fast, and the gap was so big between you and Thornton. I thought Thornton wasn't on tires. Just the way you completely flew by him, and then Will after the fact told me that he was on tires. So, how was it being in your own universe there at the end? But you did have some battles. Get in there up
uh,
front.
it was definitely an interesting race for me. At the beginning, we led a lot of laps. Quickly realized that long run speed actually matters, so my tires were absolutely killed. Um, then we had that like amazing battle. We were like 3 wide for a whole lap, and then Dean ended up getting killed. Um, but yeah, coming into the last stop of the race, Zach pitted a lap ahead of me, which was a huge difference because we're on like 20 lap old tires. So with I believe I came out like 3 seconds behind him, and at that point I thought it was over. But little do you know, we have a rocket ship under the hood. We were able to catch him and maintain the tires to not only catch him and pass him, but to pull away and uh, be gone pretty much within the last few laps. So amazing day from the team. Excited to go into next week.
Gotcha. Sounds good. I do think race control needs to tech inspect your car, just because there might be some illegal chemicals in the.
Yeah, man, I might put jet fuel in it. I don't know.
Gotta love that high octane.
Yeah, sir.
All right. Well, next week we are heading to Darlington. Very unique track. And then the finale, which you're pretty much locked in to the finale at Kansas, which is another cookie cutter style track. And Thorne predicts you're going to dominate. But what do you think will happen for those two tracks?
Darlington, it's gonna be a rough one. Darlington is never an easy track, no matter how you put it. Track surface is obviously really old, and it's an interesting track because it always brings out the best out of short track racers and mile and a half racers. It kind of evens the playing field. Um, my prediction is that Dean or Zach's gonna win that one. However, for Kansas, I'm super excited for that track because my specialty, I feel like, is definitely these cookie cutter tracks like Charlotte, Chicagoland, any track that involves tire saving and is a big track is where we specialize. That's where we've been good all year, and we're gonna keep going. And if we make it to the round of five, we're gonna try our best to, as Zach said, go dominate and win this championship.
Gotcha. All right. Well, stats at least do seem to be in your favor for this. But good chance we'll see in the future. But before we let you go, though, anyone you want to thank for your performance tonight, and I do see a new sponsor on your car.
Yeah, it was definitely an ironic car made for today. I'm supposed to run this car for tomorrow, but I had forgotten to change it before the race. So, EG, ironically, EG Racing is the sponsor for the car. Thank you to those guys for always being always wanting me on their team and coast to coast. They've been amazing teammates and have really made motorsports fun for me. Glad to see them on the hood. Thank you to Velocity Designs for making the new scheme. Got that Volt Green looking really good, I feel like. Thank you to my own design group. I get to Adria Esports and my three teammates, Brady, Will, and Zach, for helping me all race and always having my back no matter what. And thank you to Four Cloak Media and Pierce Graphics for being the secondary sponsors on the car. Thank you to you, man, for coming out and watching this race as well.
All right, cool. I do also see Weeg on your card too. So, any care
Oh,
to
yeah.
explain?
My man, Wes Gallo. He's got an amazing paint shop. Amazing racing team. Definitely search that up online.
Gotcha. All right. Well, unique scheme. I have a feeling next week will probably be back to the normal Velocity Designs colors. But thank you for your time and have a good rest of your night.
You too, man.
All right. That was Brian. I'm gonna do some quick thoughts and then you can watch me tweak the screen. But overall, the racing was good. It did spread out quite drastically there at the end, which is kind of normal for how these races tend to go. But when we did have the caution, they were very hectic, very entertaining to watch. Free wide for the lead, absolutely amazing. They're clean for the most part, just until a little contact there at the end when people are trying to be aggressive to get away from being three wide. It just kind of naturally happens, unfortunately. I don't think standings are out quite yet. I would go over them. But I our top five are going to be the same with Dean, Thornton, Will, Brian, and Paul. However, that order will change, and Paul will have a 2 point gap between himself and Malachi Drake, and they will be fighting at Darlington. You'll see you next week at the same time, same group of people, in a different place, and have a good rest of your night. All right, time to adjust this, and I know I'm still alive, so I can't